To Ichiro Oda, a one-to-one reenactment isn't possible. Live action adaptation isn't about replication, it's expression. We're not at all satisfied yet either. We want to rewrite the history of live action adaptations. We have two goals: to not betray the fans and to have the show be loved by those who don't yet know One Piece. From Netflix, let's make something great. By reading that statement, I have to inform you that the date of recording is August 31st, 2023. From midnight to 10 a.m., I have completed my viewing of the One Piece live action adaptation. I have watched all 8 episodes completely and fully, and nothing better suits the style and the emotions of the show than this statement made by Netflix on Twitter. Now, to be honest with you, the road to this show has been far, far more interesting than the show itself. Throughout what you are listening to now, I will be posting some audio recordings of the showrunner, Matt Owens, and his various thoughts and feelings about the series and about the production from the 2 years that we have known about this whole live action adaptation being a thing. But I think you deserve an overview of what I thought first, and then we can sort of start comparing and contrasting statements made to what actually has happened. If you are a One Piece fan and you are trying to get your non-One Piece fans into this series, I regret to inform you this is not the thing that would get them into One Piece at all, because what has been produced for you to enjoy on Netflix is not exactly One Piece. It is a Marvel show wearing a One Piece skin, and not a very convincing One Piece skin. It's knowing all the recipes to make the stew, but you add them all in backwards or poorly. It's there. Things are there, but things are not what they're supposed to be. The tones and flavors and intricacies and reasons are all mismatched or absent completely, which makes you very confused and disoriented, especially if you know what's supposed to be going on and then you are presented with this. And then for those who are just getting into the series and know nothing about it, would be equally as confused, because the series of events that happen in this series don't necessarily make a lot of sense and are kind of meandering and focusing on things that ultimately don't actually matter, which makes the whole ordeal confusing and a bit of a waste of time. But with that, let me give you the first quote that I want to bring up.
I needed to sell him that I knew and loved the story as well. And he got that stuff, but he was still wary, which I could understand. And so we went to dinner after the meeting, which is very, very standard for, business meetings in Japan. And we were sitting across the table from each other, and he apologized to me. He was like, look, I'm sorry if some of the things that I said came across as harsh or anything, but I want people who want to adapt this to understand how much it means to me and how much this is articulately crafted. Everything is for a reason. And I looked at him and I said, when I was in my early 20s, I'm 33 now. When I was in my early 20s, I went through a really, really bad depression. And I was trying to find a series that I could watch that would occupy all of my time, so I didn't have to do anything or think about anything. And I had read One Piece when anime was really big for me in high school and stuff, but it didn't click for me at the time. Or, also we all know the horrendous 4Kids adaptation.
So Oda tells him that things are meticulously crafted in One Piece and how things should be treated with care. He also downs the 4Kids adaptation, right? Here's the funny part about OPLA versus 4Kids. 4Kids had enough goose sense to at least portray the story in the order that it's meant to be told. They did cut things out. They are guilty of that. But things at least were on a even keel to where you could understand where they were going. They didn't add anything. They didn't sort of mix and match elements that were a part of the story and put them in places where they don't belong. OPLA does that through its entire 8-episode run is dedicated to telling a story that is not One Piece. It has One Piece flavors. Yes, it does, most certainly, but it is not One Piece. It's simply not One Piece. Because this is what I didn't know. I didn't know Kobe was the deuteragonist of One Piece. I didn't know he was the second protagonist of this series. Because if you know nothing about One Piece, nothing, if you're completely new, fresh off the boat, you don't know anything, you would think this is how the series is going. You would think that Kobe is just as important as Luffy. And this, dear viewer, is not so. Kobe is important, but not to the extent that OPLA makes him to be. The live action adaptation is a lie. Because, do you remember, if you're a manga reader, do you remember that Helmeppo and Kobe cover story? Okay. What if I told you that is stretched out through the entirety of the East Blue? Kobe appears in every arc that they show, other than, say, I don't know, the Buggy arc? Orange Town, I think, is the only place where he's not. And even then, when you're on the pace of showing the events of a particular arc, we cut back to Kobe and Garp and Helmeppo, because we can't get away from Kobe, Garp, and Helmeppo. They show Garp more often than they show anybody else who's supposed to be in the East Blue Saga. It's kind of amazing. If it's not Garp, it's Bogart, which I do like the Bogart love. The Bogart love is cool. I do like they show a lot of Bogart, but Bogart isn't important. Bogart is a side character. He hasn't done anything for 20 years. So to really emphasize on this small character and then emphasize on Garp is so strange to me, because you're doing the thing that you said you wouldn't do and you keep doing it. And Oda, it was supposed to be sitting in on all of these shoots, or at least some of them. I don't know how many. It's never said how many he was actually sitting in on, but I think that statement was to address the complaints that he had, as to say that we're going to do what we're going to do. And that's exactly what they did. I do not see how one can sit through 8 episodes and not see what I see. They did what they wanted to do. And if this is supposed to introduce people to One Piece who don't know One Piece, I don't see how. Because when we're not focusing on Kobe, we're kind of lingering on a lot of events that don't really seem to matter. For example, there is a point in the story where Zoro gets injured. Zoro getting injured is a whole melodramatic side plot that makes Luffy sit down and really think of his role as captain. This does not happen in the manga. He doesn't sit around contemplatively thinking about how he's messed up. It just doesn't occur. Luffy is a man of action. Zoro is a man of action. He didn't want to get in the way of Zoro's dream, which is why he did what he did. So to make him feel less than for doing so is strange to me. And it's done by Nami, whom isn't supposed to be around when this happens. So it's weird because you're rewriting the story to put Luffy down in some places, which doesn't make sense. It doesn't make the goings on more mature or more relatable. It just kind of drags down the energy of what's supposed to be going on. It's very strange and very haphazardly put together in that way. It's almost as if you read cliff notes of what's supposed to be going on and then flew by the seat of your pants based off of that. Now, I will say a lot of these set pieces throughout are impressive, but they seem like fluff for the actual content of what's supposed to be going on. And then we can't really criticize 4Kids when 4Kids, even though they did cut out Little Garden and they did cut out the Twin Capes with Laboon, that was done. But they still preserved a lot of what One Piece is. That's why a lot of people, like myself, still got into One Piece after watching it on the Fox box back in 2007. The spirit of the show was not lost. Amidst all the stupidity and all the dumb jokes, it was still there. One Piece was still there. You kind of get what I'm saying. So to put that down for your own project, when your own project is worse, effectively, because it's effectively not telling the same story. It's telling something completely different. I'm very lost as to what this is supposed to mean. Very lost. But let's continue. Roll the next clip.
Oda, one of the great things about One Piece is it's really a story about how everyone has tragedy, pain, sadness in their life, but it's not what defines you. What defines you is how you use that to motivate your future, and that no one has to do it alone. No one in this world has to be alone. When you find those people around you who motivate you and lift you up and help you, that's the greatest power in this world. And that is the story that I want to put out into the world.
Now, to be fair, you do have a lot of those touching scenes in which you do see people being picked up and you do see the main characters coming together as a group over time. That much is true. So that part, at least, was nailed pretty perfectly. A lot of the impact is lost because we keep flashing back to Kobe, Helmeppo, and Garp all the time, like every 10 minutes. But for the stuff that we do see, it is impactful and it is meeting the benchmark that was originally stated. So that is true, at least to some extent. That is true. That is true. I won't punch down on that because at least that does have some truth to it, and he is meeting the mission statement that he's portraying here. So that's true. That's fair. That's fine. The Nami scene especially, I think, is very well done. I think it's carried out very well. And that's all I have to say about that. It's good. It's actually good.
I will say, I think my favorite character in the live action is Mihawk. The dedication that the cast has to the show and to their characters and to really getting into their heads and portraying them correctly it can't be understated. These people are working really, really hard.
You know what's so interesting about Mihawk, since that is Matt Owens' favorite character? The portrayal of Mihawk is done beautifully because the actors are great throughout this entire thing. I have nothing bad to say about any of the actors. They're all great. The problem is that everybody else basically has failed them. Because here's the interesting thing. Do you remember in the manga and in the anime why Mihawk came to the Baratier? He came to the Baratier because he was chasing Krieg, right? Because Krieg annoyed him, okay? So, Krieg appears in the live action adaptation. He's on some random island and his crew is being decimated by Mihawk. Mihawk is talking to Garp in this confrontation. And Garp is asking him to scare or spook Monkey D. Luffy to bring him in because Garp is playing the role of Smoker, I guess, through this entire thing. So, you remember when we talked about respecting the source material and all that? Where's the respect here? Because this is a totally different mode of operations for Mihawk. Mihawk just shows up because he's chasing some dude who annoyed him. He's not being an attack dog for Garp in the manga. What is the purpose of portraying him in this way? And then in the way that he appears on the Baratier is interesting. It's interesting for how flaccid it is because he meets Usopp. Usopp is drunk. He's at a bar and Usopp just encounters Mihawk and he introduces Mihawk to Zoro and Nami. And that's how we get the whole Zoro fight out of that. Which is... I don't understand how that's supposed to respect the spirit of Mihawk. Because showing him beating up Krieg isn't really worth anything. Because, okay, he cuts the ship. He cuts all Krieg's bullets or whatnot. But the sense of foreboding is kind of gone because Mihawk pulling up on a raft in the middle of this giant split in two galleon is foreboding. It is powerful. It is mysterious. It shows the mystique that this man has, the power that he has. Showing him in this very superhero, marvelistic way doesn't have the same weight as what you see in the manga and in the anime. So I'm a little confused as to why it was presented in this manner, because it doesn't have the same weight and thus it doesn't have the same spirit, and it kind of does betray the source material. Now, in terms of just how he looks, well, I guess looks could go in a different section because they're their own thing altogether. But let's continue.
East Blue arc is fairly episodic. And so one of the things that we've had to try and do is what exists in the canon, because that's always what we come back to. We know a hell of a lot more about this story now than we did when it started. So what are some things in the world already that we can use to try and make the story feel a little bit less episodic in the beginning? Not betraying anything, but just trying to give it a little bit more connective tissue.
Okay, so that's going to be the last one because I think we have enough quotes to kind of start talking about what I saw, okay? So, the East Blue Saga is episodic. Being episodic, it gives you some insight of the individual stories of the characters as they are, and then as the world opens up, these characters, well, some of them come back, are referenced, are called back to, which then starts to make the connective tissue there. You don't need connective tissue at the start because all of these individual villains are their separate stories. So in even attempting to do that, you are betraying the source material, are you not? Because what I saw in the One Piece live adaptation, that wasn't even really done. Because, okay, I think what is being alluded to is that Buggy is kidnapped by Arlong at one point, and then he's made to rat out where Luffy is, okay? There's your connective tissue, basically. I mean, that's the biggest plot point that happens. Because, for example, the Usopp story, Syrup Village, that's his own contained story. No other villain comes in on that. So it's kind of weird that this was said, because it's not really 100% true. But then I think the connective tissue that's trying to be stated with that might be that Kobe shows up in Syrup Village. Because Garp, throughout this entire thing, is trying to apprehend Luffy. So it's all just really strange. And then to rewind things all the way back, right? Let's just talk about how Luffy's backstory is portrayed. Luffy's backstory is portrayed sporadically over the course of episode 1 and episode 2. You know what's missing in that backstory? We get the devil fruit thing, right? We get that. Luffy does a remark that tastes bad at the start. He remarks on that later, which I found weird. But the fact that we go through this entire thing, it's portrayed rather well, I must say, because we do have the scene in the bar. We do see Lucky Roo and all the other red-haired pirates. We do see all of them. Okay. And we see Luffy eat the fruit. But the way things are shot, they're shot in such a way in which Luffy is taken out of the action initially. He like wanders off in a back room and he eats the devil fruit in secret. And that's where he just kind of gobbles up the whole thing. He doesn't remark how nasty it was right then. But then we get the whole scene where Shanks pulls his arm and he finds out that he's made of rubber. So it's little things like that I find kind of weird. It's like, it's not exactly like the show. It has the same spirit, but it's changed in such a way in which you're trying to figure out what was the benefit of presenting this thing in this way that's different from the manga and the anime. What actually makes this better? Because the scene doesn't really change. You're just making this one thing two things now, which kind of overcomplicates the situation more than it needs to, if you ask me. Now, another very interesting thing that's completely missing. If you are a One Piece fan, or if you're not, you should know that one of the most iconic scenes in One Piece, especially at the start, is Luffy knocking out the Lord of the Coast. Luffy knocking out Lord of the Coast is a great transition from Luffy from being a child to being an adult, because the Lord of the Coast, of course, is a giant eel-like sea monster that's responsible for biting off Shanks' arm when Shanks went to save Luffy. And it's made very clear in the One Piece live adaptation that Shanks does scare the Lord of the Coast off with a hockey burst. That was portrayed very weirdly in the dilation of pupils, but I guess that's the only way how to portray it. That's beside the point. The point is that Luffy doesn't knock out the Lord of the Coast in the live-action adaptation. You see the Lord of the Coast one time for that iconic scene where he bites off Shanks' arm, but after that, he's gone. This is super interesting because it's a very easy excuse to portray Luffy way weaker than he actually is, which I just found very interesting and weird, because for what purpose? You kind of get me? Like, Luffy is a freakish superhuman in the East Blue Saga. That's why he's able to just blow past all of his enemies, because he's so much stronger than them. And that's cool, but I don't understand why you would take this iconic scene out and then fill the rest of this, really this whole production with fluff with Kobe. It's weird, because from that point forward, when we're going through all these arcs, they're jam-packed with Kobe. I just can't get over it. They talk about this Kobe thing, and Kobe like going around with Garp and playing Mahjong and all this, and I'm just perplexed as to why they keep doing it. And it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. Another weird thing that's a weird betrayal of the source material is having Nami in Shalestown, which this was leaked a little while ago, but in the way that it happens, I'm still perplexed as to why they chose to do this, because Nami doesn't really come about until we get to Orangetown, right? With Buggy. But they chose to have her in Shalestown to get a map of the Grand Line, which, as far as I know, doesn't really exist, nor do these weird aspirations by Buggy and Arlong to both get to the Grand Line and, in Buggy's case, to become Pirate King. It's all very weird because it's like people acting like these characters. I mean, that's obviously the case, but I mean, I don't get the feeling that what is being portrayed is supposed to be Buggy and Arlong. You get some of the racist stuff with Arlong, but him trying to conquer the East Blue and then the Grand Line just doesn't come up. Arlong's thing is that he's a big fish in a small pond, and he aims to keep it that way because he knows that there are other people out there that can just turn him into mincemeat. Because Jinbei too is brought up in this live action adaptation. And what's so weird is that when Nezumi is talking to Arlong in one scene, he mentions that slavery has been abolished. No, it hasn't. Slavery is still a big issue, and we see it in Shabani Archipelago. So that's another betrayal of the source material. It just doesn't make sense. It's like that. And then going back to Buggy, even though I do like how they portray Boodle, Boodle is very cool. We see him in Orangetown. Shushu is not emphasized at all, which Shushu is another introspective into Luffy's whole demeanor, because it shows that he is so emotionally sensitive that he can relate to the feelings of beasts, right? And this happens like later on with Laboon. But it's a lot of telling and not showing for the most part. And that's the sort of feeling you get throughout watching this entire thing. Shushu appears for like 2 seconds at the end of Orangetown, and the whole weird way they get into Orangetown is that Buggy finds them because they have this elusive treasure map of the Grand Line that he wants, which is ridiculous, but okay. Especially seeing as how he would know how to get into the Grand Line because he's been there with Roger, but okay, I guess. And that's mentioned in the show that he and Shanks were on the same crew, but whatever. Yeah, so he drugs them with this flare, because this flare has like gas in it, and he captures them. They're in his big circus tent in the middle of destroyed Orangetown, and we get a fight with him and Luffy and Nami, right? And I bring this up because this is one of the most egregious things that I think I could ever encounter in a One Piece live action or an adaptation of One Piece at all. There's this particular scene, right? To replace the whole bit about Luffy being in a cage and Buggy shooting a cannon at Luffy and all that, they replaced that with Luffy first on a stretching rack, which is weird, but okay. And then Luffy is put into a glass box, which fills up with water. Buggy makes sure to tell us that it's filling up with seawater. And he also says a splash of that can render a doleful user helpless. Okay. These people didn't read the manga. I'm fully convinced. I think all of that preamble that I set up before saying this, I think all of that was hocus pocus nonsense, because where in the world Tell me this. Where in the world does it ever say that devil fruit users are weak to being splashed with water? And it doesn't matter if a glass box is filling up with seawater. If a devil fruit user is submerged in any kind of body of water, they are weakened. They are weakened. That's the point. As long as it's water, and if they are submerged halfway, they start to lose their strength. That has been the thing since the beginning. How do you mess that up? And I'm bringing this up because these small little things build on top of each other to become a big thing. These are important. These are important details. How do you get them wrong? How can you get them wrong? And don't tell me that's incorrect, because I know that's correct. You know how I know that's correct? Because in Enies Lobby, when Khalifa is in the bath, she is partially weakened because half her body is submerged, right? But she's cocky, and that's why she's doing that, because she doesn't take Nami seriously at the time. So to specify even that it's seawater makes no sense. And then this builds on top of another scene later when Luffy is fighting Arlong at Bratier, which is crazy. But yeah, instead of Krieg, we just get Arlong at the Bratier. Okay, whatever. Arlong and Karubi. But okay, again, whatever. Arlong splashes Luffy with some water, and he just kind of gets knocked out. So that seemingly throwaway line by Buggy is actually true. It's true for this series. Splashing somebody with seawater, that's devil fruit, just weakens them completely. How ignorant. Like, it's ignorance. It's just ignorance. How do you mess that up? It's ridiculous. It's foolishness. Okay, I don't know. Let's talk about Usopp now. And let's just talk about Syrup Village in general. Okay, so first of all, the guy who's playing Usopp, excellent job, excellent work, is convincing. He is given terrible direction. But let's talk about Syrup Village, okay? Usopp's introduction, ruined. He's not introduced as this grand orchestrator of lies like he is in the manga, and you don't get the cool line with Luffy saying, oh, if you've pointed a gun at somebody, you better be able to use it. You don't get any of that. You get him working at a shipyard on the Mary, and Luffy being just mysteriously intrigued by the Mary from bumbling into the shipyard. Okay. What does that do? Like, what does that do for anything? I don't understand. Like, how is somebody who does not know about One Piece supposed to get Usopp from that? And also, you've now taken out one of the most prominent lies of Usopp. I have over 8,000 men. You've taken that out now. That's a lie that persists throughout the series. And then, on the topic of Usopp, yeah, I'm going to talk about the nose. Here's why the nose starts to piss me off, okay? Because they think they're being cheeky. They're not. This is actually very stupid. But okay. At the start of each, I guess, arc, right? We get a title drop. Is One Piece done in the style of the specific character that we're talking about, okay? And I think they're pretty cool. The ignorant, tongue-in-cheek, ha-ha, we did it, but just so you can shut up sort of thing that they do is they give Usopp his own personal one, right? His personal one has his Jolly Roger from the manga in it with the long nose. Why would you put that in here when Usopp himself doesn't have a long nose? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you acknowledge it? Why would you acknowledge it? Why would you acknowledge that he has something that he doesn't have here? It's ridiculous. And then the entirety of Syrup Village is a slap in the face because, first of all, Mary is just killed. Mary the guy, Kaya's butler. He's just killed. He's just killed by Kuro. Just killed. And speaking of Kuro, we've turned this whole cool, like, find out the pirates' plan and fight them on the coast of the island. That whole thing will begin the manga and the anime. We trade that for Scooby-Doo. Because the entirety of Syrup Village takes place in Kaya's mansion and the well outside of Kaya's mansion for Zoro, which Mary was also dumped in at some point. And it's interesting too that Bunchy and Chim is turned to a girl, which that's fine, I don't care. But like Bunchi, I like a lot, and I'm like, wow, they gave this minor character all this personality. Big shame that we're missing out on important stuff. Like Django. Django's not even here, bruh. Django's not even here. The character that actually goes on to be a character beyond this point. They even have the audacity to mention Mirabal Island. So I'm like, what is the point? What is actually the point? You have Django as a wanted poster in Shellstown, but he's not here with Kuro. Therefore, Usopp doesn't get any cool moments there with Django. Nor are the Usopp pirates here. None of them are here. They're all gone. They're all gone. So we take out Django. We take out the Usopp pirates for more character development for Bunchi. Mind you, dear viewer, it has been 20 years. Kuro has recently appeared in the manga again after 20 years in an art request. Okay? Why on God's green earth would you give Bunchi of all characters in Chim, or whatever the other one's name is, I forget, but Chim and Bunchi, why would you give them more personality and leave Django on the table? How is that representing the manga in a fashionable light? How is that representing the canon in a fashionable light? I don't understand. How is that? How is it? No, tell me, how is it? Because Bunchi is a cook. He's poisoning Kaya. He's responsible for all these things for Kuro to be set in motion. For what reason? I don't actually get it. They even do the whole costume for him. They play that completely straight. With no disrespect. They just play it straight, which is crazy. And this is one thing you'll notice about all the costumes. I'll just mention it now. All the costumes look like cosplay. And I think I know the reason why. There is zero weathering on these things. Like, the weathering you get is a very vast and far between. It's very strange. It's very strange that no one basically has any sort of dirt or water damage or anything on their clothing. It is weird how everyone's a pirate and yet everyone is immaculately dressed. Like, there's a dry cleaners on every ship. It's weird. It's actually weird, and it's jarring. So, yes, Mary, another character that appears in the manga multiple times after Sword Village arc in the manga, he's dead. He's just dead. I can't get my mind around that. He's dead. And then Zoro is dumped at the bottom of a well, and that's used to show off Zoro's backstory, which, in fairness, Zoro's backstory is done fairly well. I'll give you that. They eliminate Kaya's cause, Kuina, excuse me. They eliminate Kuina's cause of death, which is super weird. I don't know, but okay, it's gone. She just dies or whatever. Whatever. They do give her a name drop. They do say Shipmonsuke Kuina. So yeah, they put a name on her. That's good. Shipmonsuke Kuina. Okay, cool. I don't think that was mentioned in the manga. I think that was just the name of the village. I don't think we actually got that until like very recently. I think in SBS 105 or something like that. So that's weird that we're dropping updated information and something for people who don't yet know One Piece, supposedly, I guess. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but it's weird. It's just weird. But yeah. And then Kobe shows up in Syrup Village. I just can't get over it. Usopp runs for help to find Kobe. Kobe's here again. He shows up all the time. And then as far as explaining things go, Kuro has Silent Step here, right? In the manga, Silent Step is explained. It's high-speed movement, and he doesn't know where he's going, right? Kuro's just teleporting now. And that's not explained. It just happens. Why? Actually, why? That's what the problem I have. Like, If you're watching this for the first time and you don't know anything, you're lost. Why is this man with the long Freddy Krueger claws moving around so quickly? Why is he teleporting? Not explained. Not explained at all. You could have just said he's using a high-speed movement technique called shave. You could have just dropped shave there. You could have done that, but you didn't. Since we're doing what we want to do anyway. Why? Why did you do that? Why didn't you explain it? Everyone's lost. I know I was lost, and I've read the manga. I don't understand what the point of that is. Now, to be fair, Kaya's mansion is immaculate. I don't know why we turned this into a Scooby-Doo plot with Kuro, but okay. It's a good mansion. It's good, and I see where the money went. But I don't like it. I just don't understand the Sword Village arc because it doesn't portray what it's supposed to be. And then when they finally get the Mary is named in Mary's honor, which is also a weird detail to change, which let me know that Mary is just dead. But like, it's also a weird detail to change. Why? And of course, the ship still looks bad. And I don't understand why the ship wasn't painted. I still don't get that. You spent all this money on the ship as a prop and you don't even paint the colors that it is in the manga and the anime. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. So, okay, later on, Usopp paints the Jolly Roger, his Jolly Roger on the main flag. And it's like this weird version of the Usopp Jolly Roger with a shortened nose. Why does this abomination exist? Why do the joke again? You did the bad Straw Hat joke the first time. That was cute. I like that. That's pretty good. Why do the Usopp joke? It doesn't make sense because Usopp doesn't have a long nose. Like, it's nonsense. It's meandering and it's stupid. It's actually dumb. Why do that? What is the point? And then you put that in, like they said, the title card I mentioned. Why give the Jolly Roger and the title card long nose if that's nowhere in the series that you're trying to portray? There's nowhere there. You have now said we're not giving Usopp a long nose. So why even have anything with Usopp having a long nose? It's weird. Why even have a joke? Just make a new Jolly Roger. I don't know. Just make a new one. Or just make the skull with like a nose hole in it because the nose is irrelevant because Usopp doesn't have a long nose. That's the whole joke. You can't have the joke without the reason. It doesn't make sense. It's dumb. It's actually dumb. Now time for a positivity break. I love the Baratier. I love Sanji. I love Zeph. I love Patty. I love how Sanji's backstory was portrayed. All that is actually exquisite. The guy playing Sanji, again, all the actors are great. All the actors are great. Sanji's direction, superb. Actually fantastic. The Baratier itself, actually a good set. No, that's a good one. I think they really should have splurged on that. I love it a lot. It's good. It's cool. It's good. I think it should exist. I love it. Okay, here's the thing. You know that intro thing I keep bringing up, right? Where everyone has their own personalized version of One Piece. Here's something I noticed about all of them, except for the main one that you see at the start of the show. They changed the eye on everyone except Arlong's and the one at the start. So instead of going for brand recognition by making Luffy the eye of the main One Piece, you just do your own thing and make Luffy the divider in the nose bone of the Jolly Roger inside the O in One Piece. That is the most cockamamie decision I can't even fathom. But to Sanji's Jolly Roger, they give him the swirly eyebrow. Again, if you don't have any context of Sanji even having that based on how he looks in the adaptation, why would you associate that with him? The joke doesn't work, okay? It's so asinine because it doesn't actually work. the personality is lost. It doesn't relate to him because the main feature of him as a character is gone. And it's worse with Sanji. It's actually worse because if you know anything, that becomes a big thing later. The swirly eyebrows become a big thing. A big thing for his character. And his transformation into himself as an individual. It becomes a big thing. But who cares? Who cares, I guess? Because we're not getting a season 2, so who cares? But it's just interesting that they keep doing it. Like they're pulling a funny. You're not funny. I see what you're doing. You're not funny. You're not cute. It doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't exist within the context of the show, so why would it make sense? See, I hate that. I hate that, and I keep bringing it up because they keep doing it. They gave Buggy one, and his eye has changed too, which is just weird. But Buggy makes sense because Buggy has a clown nose. That's why the Jolly Roger within the O on his version of One Piece has a clown nose because the Buggy in the show has a clown nose. This isn't rocket science. You make the thing look like the character, everyone gets the joke. They get the personalization. Like when Nami gets one. It looks like Nami because she has orange hair and she wears white and blue striped clothing. People get it. She's a thief. She looks like a thief in the Jolly Roger thing. So people get it. It's not hard. And then she has a, what's that instrument called? Not an abacus. I forgot. A compass. I think it's called a compass. The thing you use to make perfect circles. She has that as the eye. So it makes sense. It makes sense. People get it. That's a good eye replacement. People get like Buggy's eye is a knife. He uses knives. People get it. With Sanji, people get the cooking motifs, but where is the swirly eyebrow coming from, brother? And people get Zephs. Though, yeah, no, we see the cook pirate Jolly Roger, so people would get Zephs. People get Zephs. So it's like, why even do this at all if you're not going to commit fully to the bit? Same thing with Usopp. Why do it at all? Because you're losing something in translation. Why does it look like that if that's not how the character looks? It's so stupid. It's stupid. I'm not even overreacting. It's just dumb. From an artistic standpoint, it infuriates me because you made the conscious decision not to do makeup on Sanji or Usopp. So you're going to lose half the jokes related to Sanji and Usopp because they're defined by these distinct characteristics. It doesn't make any sense. But okay, whatever. The Baratie looks great. I did not understand the fishman or half fishman front of house guy. His makeup is fantastic though. His makeup is actually good. I like his makeup. He actually looks convincing as a fishman, which is a high compliment based on what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, his makeup looks great. And speaking of makeup, I can't tell if Buggy's wearing face paint. I can't tell. I can't tell if his face is white because it looks like they were trying to do a Joker thing, but it just comes across of him being really pale. I think that's why people were confused when the trailer came out way back when. Because it looks like he is, but I don't think so. I don't think that's the actual point. I think you're just supposed to make him pale to sort of give allegory to him being a clown. And his personality is actually great. Buggy does a lot in the show. I like Buggy, but him being involved in all these plot points, goodness gracious, him even being at the Baratie being carried by Arlong is weird. Because this interconnectivity that Matt Owens wanted makes things very confusing. Because that's just not how the East Blue goes. Connectivity happens later. The Grand Line and the New World is where you get your connectivity from. Because each character has had their own time to shine, giving the audience intimate knowledge of them because they spent time with them apart from everybody else. Therefore, when you put them on another character, you're like, oh yeah, I know what this character's mode of operations is. I know what this character's mode of operation is. That's why Buggy works currently now in the narrative. And again, with Buggy, it's really, really, really disturbing to me that you give Bunchy all this time and all this personality. You give Chim all this time and all this personality. These two know-nothing Black Cat pirates, right? You give them all this time. Buggy's crew gets no time. Moji, the first mate, gets no time. Kabaji is given a mysterious secret brother that Zoro hunted down back in the day. How is that respecting the narrative? Are you crazy? Like, how is that not a lie now? What are you talking about? What actually are you talking about? It doesn't make sense. And then Kabaji doesn't even fight Zoro. I like that he's on a unicycle. That's cool. But we're just going to forget all the goofy stuff Kabaji does, like the spinning tops and all that, and the fire breath, which fire breath is actually pretty cool. But I guess whatever, forget it. It's lame. We're going to have him put Zoro on this spinning wheel thing and throw kunai at him for some reason, I don't know, and then for him to mess up and cut Zoro's throat in the process. Like what a goofy, dumb scene. Why do that? I am lost, brother. Why do that? I don't even think Kabaji's like technically a swordsman here. Which, I mean, he's not a true blue swordsman in the manga either. He's like a swordsman who uses colorful tricks, but still, he's a swordsman. And the rivalry that he has with Zoro just comes out of being swordsman. It doesn't get touched upon at all, but that's what the rivalry comes from. He didn't hunt any mysterious brother of his down. He didn't decapitate any brother of Kabaji's. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. And then Richie's just not there. The lion, not there. He's mentioned as a dancing lion, but he's not there. So it's like one of the few East Blue people who's present in the story right now. You don't emphasize for, you don't put money in, but you make this fan fiction out of the Black Cat pirates. It is so weird. Why do that? What did that serve? What did that do for anybody? What did it do? What did it do? Nothing. It's here and it's gone. You don't even see him anymore. I don't understand. On the topic of just not explaining anything, right? Okay, so, you know Den Den Mushi, and I think they look good, by the way. They're as good as they're going to get, right? In live action. Why not explain to the good people at home how the dumb snails work? Like, that's a kind of a weird thing when you explain how they work. Wouldn't somebody tell Kobe or Helmeppo, since you want to show them so much, oh my God, every 10 minutes? That's why it's so meandering, because we could be getting into the thicket of a plot, and then we just cut to Kobe and Helmeppo, or Kobe and Garp, or Kobe and Helmeppo, or Kobe, etc., etc. But anyway, don't explain how the snails work. Why wouldn't you explain how the snails work? They're weird. Explain to the people who don't know the series how the stupid snails work. Like if you're gonna do something, at least do it correctly. You have them. That's great. Explain why they're here. Just a little bit. Just explain how they work. Because it's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a bit of a fever dream to the uninitiated. Why do these people talk in snails? Why? Tell the people why. Even in the manga, when there's a new snail introduced, they tell you what it does. And now they had this weird megaphone conch one that I have never seen before. So that's a new one for the live action. But you didn't explain that. You didn't explain the big house one in Kaya's mansion. You don't explain any of them. Why? What's the purpose? What is the purpose of having this weird thing in this unique world if you're not going to explain it to the people who don't know? It's all over the place. It literally is all over the place. Why does this one have a beard? To look like Garp? I don't know. Well, me making YouTube videos about the series every day, I know. But the people at home who don't know about One Piece, they don't know. They don't know. You're just assuming that they know. Why does this look like the person who's talking into it? Why does it look like the guy? Why does it look like Garp? Explain that to people. Explain it, because they don't know. Why does this one have a metal jaw like Morgan's? Why? Explain that. Just if you're doing the most anyway with making stuff up, just make up an explanation. Just make one up. Just throwaway lines. So we doing throwaway lines anyway. Just say it. Just say it. Who cares? Just say it. Okay? Now, on the topic of Kobe and Helmeppo, again, every 10 minutes, we could be getting into a serious discussion, which, speaking about serious discussions, I keep jumping around, but why do they make Luffy so introspective about everything? Like, he stops to think about being a captain all the time, automatically, even though the guy playing Luffy does an excellent job. I think he does. But his direction is awful. The direction he's given is terrible. Why are you making him sit around and think all the time? Luffy does not think. He is a man of action. He does. He goes. He's a doer. He does. Like, I don't get it. And then this translates even worse when we're into this introspective thing. Everything's all serious and heavy. And then we come back to Kobe again. What is the obsession with Kobe brothers? What is the obsession? I get that his cover story is during the East Blue Saga. I get that. But every 10 minutes, also, if you're going to give Garp the dog hat, why not give him the full hood? Why will you give him this derpy little hat? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Because the purpose of it was to hide his identity early on. So don't even do it. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't. Don't even do it. You're not doing it for me because it doesn't even look like the hat that's in the manga. You're not doing it for me. I don't know who you're doing it for. You're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for people like me. You're not. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing I know. It doesn't look anything like the thing I know. And if you want to cut fat, that had no context. Even his ship. Oh, well, the ship looks terrible. It doesn't even look like the ship in the manga, but okay. It's steel and serious, which I roll my eyes in the back of my head at that. Why even do it? Why even do it if you're not going to do it correctly? It's a 3D model anyway. You could have modeled it to look goofy. I'm at a loss. I don't understand. But, yeah. So, every 10 minutes, Garp, Kobe, Helmeppo, Garp. It's always a cutaway. And it just stops the momentum dead in its tracks because they don't do anything but chase Luffy for whatever reason. Which even that whole plot is stupid. It's the stupidest thing I could ever conceive to be put into this adaptation because it serves no purpose. What purpose is it? You know when he meets Garp? He meets Garp after he's become notorious. He meets Garp after in his lobby, after he set fire to the world government flag. That's when he meets Garp. There's no proving that he's a man. He's become a man already. He's declared war against the world government. At that point, in the pre-time skip, in the manga and in the anime, Luffy's at the height of his career. Like, he's infiltrated one of the pillars of the world government. That's when he meets Garp. And that's also when Monkey D. Dragon is introduced. Not before. And then you make this big melodramatic thing about him being related to Garp as a vice admiral, and then Nami gets all mad about it or whatever. This is so like teen drama BS, honestly. Like, who cares? It's just drama for drama's sake. It has no context because you're popping the cherry too early. It's dumb. That's not how you adaptate something. You didn't have to cover that at all. You could have had Smoker do all this. You could have had Smoker at the start. You could have just had Smoker be this. You could have had this. Since we're making up things anyway. You could have had Smoker be in the driver's seat. So I don't know if that's a decision Oda made or whatever, which would kind of make a little sense seeing how the manga's been going. But man, this is weird. It is weird. It's abysmally weird. Especially seeing as how Smoker is in the intro. Like, you see Child Smoker, which is an anime joint, which makes some sense given Matt Owens' relationship with the series. He specifically mentioned the anime, and the audio recording that I posted in this very video. But it's weird. It's so weird that you don't focus on the guy that you're already establishing the show at the execution of Goldie Roger. It is super weird. Also, speaking about the execution, why have Dragon there if we're not going to Logtown again? Like, what is that an Easter egg for me? Is that an Easter egg for the Watch Mojo videos? Like, what is that for? What is that for? Same thing with Doflamingo's Wine and Kaya Center. Who cares? The show's bad. Who cares about all these dumb Marvel Easter eggs? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares you went out of your way to do that? That's not care. That's not being meticulous. That's just shoving things in to appease like the nerds that are watching this. But you have no substance to back it up. So it falls flat. You need substance to back up Easter eggs. You can't just have Easter eggs with no substance, because now you're just reference signaling. Who cares about your references? Who cares? The show's bad. The thing that I'm watching, the thing that's in my face is bad. So why would I care about the things in the background? It's nonsense. It's actual nonsense. Okay, gonna inject some positivity again. Again, I love the Nami scene all on Park. I think that's good. The whole Luffy help me thing. Very good. Very emotionally driven. The camera angles are bad, but all the camera angles bad. Whatever. Okay, I need to talk about this. All the fishmen, except for the guy at Baratier, who's not even canon, all the fishmen makeup is bad. Every last one is bad. Chu is here, which is great, because we get to see Chu versus Usopp. But wait, no. Chu versus Usopp is played up as a big joke. You know, one of the key points in the story where Usopp has to stop being a yellow belly coward and has to man up and be a big man and do the big man thing and beat the terrible, vicious superhuman that would tear him asunder. You remember that scene? Remember that scene when he was going to punk out and say that he tried his best, but he couldn't do it, but then he nuts up and actually defeats Chu in fantastic fashion? You remember that? That's gone now. Chu has all the same abilities, but Usopp just shoots a vodka bottle that he's holding because he doesn't spit water anymore. He spits whiskey bullets and flame bullets if he's drank whiskey previously. So the spitting's there, I guess, so bonus points for at least keeping that in. The long mouth isn't there. He just gets big lips, which it looks bad, but okay. And I'm sure there are plenty of shots for that, but you can't give Usopp a long nose, so whatever. So he shoots bullets of whiskey at Usopp. Usopp tricks him out by pretending that he's dead because he covers himself in ketchup. That was nice. That part of the whole bit was nice. I like that. But then shooting the whiskey bottle and setting him on fire is great, but then it's accompanied by a silly Marvel movie line, which destroys all the character growth Usopp would have gotten in that arc. So congratulations, you messed up, Usopp. Okay, whatever, I guess. Hachi's not here, so it's already bad because you don't have Hachi, you don't have Momu. Hachi and Momu, ironically, are the two characters that show up later in the manga and in the anime. Hachi gets his own cover story. So, okay. And it also sets up Hyozo for Fishman Island. But okay, we're not doing that. Whatever. Zoro and Sanji fight a bunch of random fishmen, and then they both double team Karubi, which... Okay. What do you want me to say? It's bad. It's bad. Sanji calls out some move lines. That's kind of neat. But I mean, what? What do I say about it? I don't know. I actually don't know. All the fishermen makeup look bad. It all looks bad. Arlong actually is played well. Again, the actors are doing the best. The actors are carrying this production. They're carrying it all the way through. The makeup people and the VX people were out of the office. They were all asleep. I'm sorry. That's the truth. Whether you want to believe me or not, that is the truth. Arlong's makeup looks horrendous. And all the dumb nerds telling me that, oh, Arlong is based off of Saw-Nose Shark. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I have been reading the manga for 17 years. I didn't know he was based off this particular fish. Like every fisherman in the manga is. Like, why say that? Like, why get on Twitter and type that in? Like you're being an intellectual. That's done with every fishman. Every fishman gets a note box telling you what fish they're based off of. I hated that. I hate when people did that. What are you contributing? You're contributing nothing. You're doing nothing. It's nothing. And then, like, again, the costuming. Arlong isn't, like, water damaged at all. It's weird that he has clothing on that isn't water damaged. That is like faded out or whatever. It's weird. It's weird that his clothing is pristine. And I frankly don't get it. He has no real chemistry in the fight against Luffy. All the comedy is gone, which is really jarring throughout the entire production. Like the comedy has just been sucked out of it because we need to be melodramatic and serious all the time because Westerners don't get weird Japanese comedy, I guess. I guess that's what they're saying. I guess that's what they're saying. I guess it is. I guess it is. I guess it is. Westerners only understand dumb Marvel comedy. That's what they're projecting to you. They're calling you dumb. They're calling you dumb. They're calling you a stooge. That's what they're doing. Because the dialogue that Luffy has, like the whole I'm sensing hostility between the crew or whatever, that wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. I don't understand it. I do like that Arlong grows his teeth back. I will say that. But Luffy doesn't put Arlong's teeth in his mouth, so the scene is wasted. Who cares? Luffy broke his teeth. He grew them back. Okay. You could have just let that scene out. Like, it doesn't carry into comedy. Which is Luffy's whole point, but okay. What? Like I'm sitting here talking to you, and it's just like every time I think about something from this show, and I look at the notes I wrote on the show, I'm constantly like, what does this matter? Why did they do this? I don't get it. On the topic of just makeup in general, let's talk about Mihawk again. Let's talk about Mihawk, okay? Question for you. Why is it Yoru black? Why isn't it black? It looks like a regular sword. You've now ruined the canon. You've ruined the canon when you're talking about, oh, we know so much about the story now as opposed to way back then. You're right. We know that the black blade means something. That's why it's midnight black. That's the whole thing. That's the whole point. That's the whole actual point. Okay? Then you give him these Rinnegan eyes, which I guess he has those in the manga, so why not? But was there any other way physically possible to not make them look terrible? Because wow, you went out of your way to make them look terrible. You did. You actually did. Otherwise, the costuming's not even that bad. You just made weird decisions with his eyes, weird decisions with his facial hair, and you made it look sparse. You could have filled it in with black marker. That's a thing that people do. You could have did that to give it the look. But it feels all so low budget. You could have given him some weathering on his clothes again, but okay, I guess not. Even the Yoru itself, Zach of the Rose Skull podcast thought this was a CGI prop. It ain't. It actually isn't. It's a real sword. Oh, no. Oh, actual no. And it's not even big, which is weird. The hilt makes it look big, but the blade isn't really that big. Okay, now, let's talk about all the Gum effects, okay? Let's just talk about the VFX now. Gum Balloon was the horror that I had way back when. And my fears were rectified in full because, wow, how body horrifying. What body horror? You see his ribs push out. Why do that? Why make it the slowest inflation? Why not a quick thing? Why not a quick fix so the human brain can't catch up and see this as like uncanny and bad? Just make it quicker. Just make it quicker. That's why Luffy was supposed to work, because things are quick with Luffy. They're quick. And the fight scenes with him they range from decent to terrible. It's a weird scale. It either looks abysmal or it looks all right. There's no in between. Not really. The Gum Balloon is on the abysmal. I don't even care about them calling out the attack names. That's fine. Which, if you're a real old head, you would have put the text at the bottom like the fan subbers used to do. Remember that? That was hot. But we didn't do that here, so whatever. Yeah, Gum Balloon, bad. And his, like, sudden discovery that he's surprised that he could do Gum Balloon, why? Why would he be surprised that he could do something so basic after training with his fruit for, like, what was it, 7 years? No, 10 years. It was 10 years, like a full decade. Why would he be surprised about a basic move of his kit? That's what I'm talking about. You're losing so much in translation with Luffy. There's no connective tissue. That's just a lie. You're just flying on the seat of your pants, putting whatever you want in there, which is fine. I just wish you would have said that. That's why this whole, like, advertising to YouTubers thing was weird to me, because you're shooting yourself in the foot, because they're probably not going to call you out on it, which is fine. You're probably getting benefits. Get your bag. I'm not going to come for your bag. You do what you want. But it's weird when you're seeing the thing in motion and it's just poor. Everything is just bad and poor. It's just poor. Even like when we get to like all the wigs, right? People were harping on Nami's wig. Nami's hair is actually fine. People's values and looks were in the wrong places. It's literally everybody but Nami and Zoro. Everybody but like Nami, Zoro, and Nojiko looks abysmal. Did you see Full Body? Full Body doesn't have a bright pink hair. What are you talking about? And then, why even have Full Body if you're not going to have Django? Why do that? Why even do it? Why do it? And I think you have the, I think this is the captain from Romance Dawn. He's in it too. Okay, thank you for the funny nerd cameo. Thanks for the Marvel Easter egg. I appreciate it. The no context nonsense. Oh, thank you. He's just in the brassiere. Cool. Whatever. I'm surprised the what's his name? Bachina? The little fly that's in the soup. I'm surprised. Yeah, the context of that scene isn't even accurate because it's over something else. It's not even over a fly being planted in the soup. So it's all wasted. It's all wasted for some masturbatory cameo. Like who cares? You're getting things wrong for no reason. Like, it's not even, you're not even adaptating anything anymore. You're just putting stuff in here. You're just grabbing things and shoving them in there. Why wasn't Rob Lucci at the bar? Why wasn't he at the brassiere? Might as well do it. Who cares, right? Like, that's where I'm at now. Because you're just shoving things in places. You know? I don't get it. And Patty looks great. But I could have sworn Patty was bald. I didn't know he had seeing full green hair. It's fine, but I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss. I'm not sure what to say or do. Because everywhere you look for positivity with this, there's like a ton of other negative things. And I hope these things keep coming out, because this should never be attempted again, ever. And one thing I forgot to mention, Zoro is called the first mate not once but twice. Brother, that's not canon. I don't care about your head canon. He is not the first mate in the manga or in the anime. This does not occur. What does this mean? First mate is an actual thing in the manga because Ben Beckman is Shanks' first mate. Moji is Buggy's first mate. Zoro is never a first mate. That is not his job description. His job description is fighter. That's what we got. Okay? So that's wrong. It's actually wrong. Goodness gracious. Did no one proofread anything? Like anything at all? This is amateur hour. It's love for the series. What? Huh? I can't. I can't. Why even lie? Why even lie? It's lying. It's lying. You can go back and look at it. They call him the first mate. Find that for me in the canon where it's this actual job description. Not your head canon, where it's actual job description. Find it. I want to hear nothing else. Show me manga panels. I don't want to hear about Bartolomeo calling him the first mate. He's not in the crew. I guess that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you could deal with me yelling for over an hour. Bye-bye.